When Sharon was promoted in her company, she wasn't sure if she deserved it or if she was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. Even though she was the most qualified person for the job, she feared she would underperform in the position she was given and that people would find out she was in over her head. And you've probably felt like Sharon at least in one point in your life, and so have we. Imposter syndrome is more common than you would imagine. Estimates show that over 70% of successful people suffer from it, and while it can often be traced back to their personal experiences, it is something that can be dealt with if worked on diligently. And today, we're talking about the ways you can tackle your imposter syndrome. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. Recognize imposter feelings when they come up. Awareness is the first step to dealing with imposter syndrome. Like they say, you can't fix what you don't know. So you have to understand yourself and track your thoughts so you can discern when you're having those imposter feelings. Imposter syndrome is the inability to believe you deserve your success. No matter how much hard work you put in, it just doesn't feel enough. Your shortcomings are still too obvious, or so you think. Number 2, rewire your brain and how you process things. And all that starts with how you define things. Just like a cup of water halfway could be half full or half empty, the way you process things decides whether you will suffer from imposter syndrome or not. You don't know something? Well, say you currently don't have the sufficient knowledge to carry out the task, not that you can't do it. Develop a positive outlook on everything. Yes, you've got to be careful not to be overly positive or toxically positive, but sometimes being realistic about everything can make you harsh in your judgment of your own abilities. Instead of worrying about your coworkers finding out stuff about you, remind yourself that you're only human and it's normal to not know everything at once. Number 3, talk about your feelings. The thought of being an imposter is incredibly alienating. However, these emotions are rather common. The imposter syndrome has been reported by 62% of workers globally. It's preferable to have an open conversation rather than to keep bad views to oneself, since there could be others who feel the same way. And a problem shared is half solved. When you're able to discuss with people, they'll give you a different perspective other than your own negative thoughts. And obviously, spending a few moments opening up your mind to other people's opinions can also change your entire outlook on things. Number 4, learn lessons from your failure. They say experience is the best teacher. When you fail to get something the first time, it can be easy to slip into depression, especially if you don't get why you failed. We've all made mistakes at work at some point, and at these times, imposter syndrome can strike us hard. But recognize that failure is a necessary component of development, and that all of these experiences will teach us the most. Attaching lessons to your failures gives you clarity regarding the causes of your situation. When you learn from experience, you can put the lessons to good use by utilizing what you've learned to reduce any future self-doubt you may experience. Number 5, show yourself compassion. We can't be in our element all of the time. So in our fuck-up situations, we shouldn't be too strict and beat ourselves up for our own mistakes. Always forgive yourself and keep in mind you have the right to make errors from time to time. This also goes for when you get things right. Remember to celebrate yourself. We often will hear that voice in our mind telling us we're not clever enough or we're frauds when imposter syndrome is present. Negative self-talk is a nasty habit that may considerably raise our feelings of tension and worry. Being nice to oneself means changing the way you see yourself by utilizing positive self-talk. It may ease your stress and worry as well as offer you the assurance to take chances that will yield greater rewards. Number 6, seek support. Don't shy away from asking for help. Other than maybe an inflated ego, you stand to lose nothing here. Like being in quicksand, you sometimes need someone to pull you out. You can seek support from friends and family, or also visit a therapist to address your problems. Number 7, consider the context. The majority of people will occasionally have moments where they don't feel completely assured. Self-doubt can be a common response when you feel uncomfortable or out of your zone. The phrase, "I feel useless, but that doesn't mean I truly am," might help you to change your perspective if you catch yourself believing that you're worthless. It's normal to not feel completely confident in your abilities all the time. For instance, when taking on a new position for the first time, even though you have years of experience in a function that's comparable. But rather than dismissing those ideas, you can embrace them with the justification that you're still getting the hang of it. Time is your friend here, and you will get a grip. Number 8, get busy. There's a popular saying that an idle hand is a devil's plaything. You will no sooner forget your problems if you are fully immersed in a task. You should also actively try to re-skill yourself at every opportunity you get. By doing this, you're able to dismiss the thoughts that whisper you aren't good enough anytime they pop up. Number 9, let go of perfectionism. While useful in some situations, perfectionism may seriously hinder productivity, and it turns out it can be a significant reason for suffering from imposter syndrome as well. High achievers who have a very high expectation for themselves and are dedicated to giving their all and being the greatest frequently experience imposter syndrome. When you feel like a fake, it's typically because you're holding yourself accountable for an impossible flawless result. Rather than striving for perfection, you should focus on development, progress over perfection. You may get rid of perfectionism by practicing self-compassion and utilizing mindfulness to understand that the little mistakes are fine and your self-worth is your most important asset. Number 10, seek out a mentor. Mentors play a crucial role in our growth and development, so why wouldn't they be important for something like this? Finding a mentor is a terrific approach to growing your career while also keeping imposter syndrome feelings in check. You should seek out a person who can offer you assistance and some useful advice. This might be a senior leader or a boss at another organization who you like. And make sure you hold your mentors in high esteem, so if push comes to shove, you can talk to them about your imposter syndrome. Number 11, keep score of your accomplishments. It might be difficult to realize how much of a part you had in your own triumphs when you feel like an imposter. You could attribute your success to chance or the labor of others, when in reality it was mostly the result of your own efforts, knowledge, and planning. Keeping records of your victories helps to convince yourself that you're genuinely succeeding. Consider all the methods in which you have previously achieved success by looking at your track record. Sometimes all it takes is a little prod to remind you that you are, in fact, every bit as wonderful as your record of success would suggest. Number 12, imagine yourself succeeding. Everything starts in the mind. When Amazon's business model was just entering the market, people said Jeff Bezos was crazy, and it was better for him to sell off with meager profits than hold on to a company that was doomed to fail. Well, you know how the rest of the story played out. We can only achieve what we dream about, and this is evident in the biggest business people of our time. One of the most important traits of successful company owners and entrepreneurs is the ability to visualize success. No one is resistant to imposter syndrome, but just like successful people, you can tune out the noise of self-doubt by focusing on the image of success that you have. Number 13, meditate. The emotional quagmire of self-doubt can be damning. It can be easy to get sucked in and feel trapped. In some cases, struggling only makes it worse, just like quicksand. Sometimes you might feel this way because you've been overworking yourself and your mind is screaming for a rest. Meditation has been used for ages as a means to relax and train the mind. You should spare a few minutes to meditate every day whenever the clouds of self-doubt begin to gather. Number 14. Anticipate it and learn your triggers. Imposter syndrome will happen at some point in your life, but if it gets to be serious, it could interfere with your well-being. So if you notice that you get triggered when certain things happen, prepare in advance for those situations so you can combat their effect. And number 15, avoid social media oppression. It's very common to see someone sharing their success story on social media. In fact, on apps like LinkedIn, these posts can be so overwhelming you forget how much distortion of self-image happens on the net. Should you be sad when you see strangers celebrating a promotion or showing off their newly purchased asset? No, definitely not. So tune out the noise, knowing that you are talented enough to eventually be in the position that they are, and don't question your skill by comparing yourself to internet strangers you know nothing about. Now, for those who experience imposter syndrome, the tension it causes can lead to physical ailments and crippling mental health struggles. And it doesn't stop at your job. The sentiment gradually creeps into other areas of your life, damaging relationships and reducing your productivity. It's important to remember that failure doesn't make you a fraud, and our uniqueness as humans is our strong point. And Aluxers, that's a wrap for today. Tell us, what's the worst imposter syndrome moment you've experienced down in the comments? And since you got this far, check out our video we made titled 15 Productivity Hacks to Win Back Your Time in Life. Thank you for watching this video, Aluxer. If you found it valuable, consider subscribing to our channel and joining our awesome community. And if you're still hungry for more, we handpicked this video for you to watch next, or head over to our website for more amazing content. See you tomorrow.